I wouldn't have been able to meet these amazing people or connect with these kids or teach different camp counselors about the Fontan procedure at like 10 years old. I wouldn't be able to do that without having CHD and without having these hospital trips. Yeah.
For most teens, navigating high school means balancing coursework, friendships, and anticipating the weekend ahead. For Amelia, a 16-year-old grade 11 student, that list also includes a congenital heart defect known as CHD. Diagnosed at birth, she has undergone 3 major heart surgeries, the first at just 9 months old. In the face of all these difficulties, she has chosen to embrace life, to live with a positive attitude, and above all else, become an advocate for other teens living with cardiac conditions as they approach adulthood. But Amelia just isn't sharing her story. She's also shaping the future of teen cardiac care. Through her current work with the Chameleon Project and Toronto Sick Kids, Amelia is helping young patients track their health and direct their own journey. This episode of Let's Talk SADS Live is for any teen or parent of a teen who is coping with a heart condition. Amelia talks about growing up with CHD, the roller coaster ride that comes with it, and what it looks like to move forward with courage and a sense of humor. Hi, Amelia, and welcome to Let's Talk SADS Live. I'm so glad you're here joining me. It looks like you're in your room. Are you sitting in your room right now?
I am, yes.
That's awesome. So tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me a bit about your heart condition, when you were diagnosed. What do you know about it? And maybe just start off and share that with us.
Yeah, so I'm 16. I'll be 17 in May. And I was diagnosed with double outlet right ventricle. And later on, a bit more recently, I learned I have left atrioventricular valve regurgitation. So my valve doesn't close properly and it leaks a bit of blood back into my heart.
Yeah. And when did you discover all of this?
When I was 3 days old, I was sent to sick kids. So I was born and then they realized that I had a heart defect and I was sent to sick kids. And on day 3 to day 5, I was there as a patient.
Wow. And I understand you've had some operations. So what have they done to treat this and what are you currently living with?
Yeah, so I had the Glenn and the Fontan procedures and they had to fix basically the way that my heart pumps the blood through my heart. So they went in and they moved some things around and then I am okay now. I did a catheter procedure this March, and I got a stent put in and I've been good since, yeah.
And do you have any restrictions on what you can and can't do, or are you just living like a normal teenager?
I'd say I'm living like a normal teenager. I do tire easily, or a bit more than my peers, but yeah, I am a pretty healthy person.
You told me when we talked a little while ago, you had an experience at an amusement park. Maybe you want to share that.
Yes. So, actually it was the first day of the year. So January 1st, 2025. And a couple of my cousins and I, we went to Canada's Wonderland, with our families. We went on this big, I think it was the Cyclone. That was what it was called. It was this gigantic, swingy thing. And I was on the roller coaster the first time and I was fine. And then I got on the second time again. And I call them heart episodes. And I have heart palpitations or arrhythmias. And I couldn't breathe. And it was really scary. And then I was midair when that happened. So I was swinging through the air. There was no breathing happening. And then once I got off, I was all lightheaded and I went and I sat down, and I was okay for the rest of the night. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I think a lot of people in this audience can share that experience that they've had that. And maybe that makes them understand can't do roller coasters.
Yeah, no roller coasters.
Wow. So tell me how do you think this has changed your life, knowing that you have this and growing up knowing about this?
CHD for me, because I had a complex CHD, I was in the hospital a lot for my surgeries when I was a baby. And now that I have my annual checkups, maybe semi-annual, I've learned more about what happened in those long hospital stays. And it's really like interesting to see like what happened because I don't remember any of it. But like the fact that it happened to me at such a young age is so like, it's kind of scary because I didn't think that like growing up, I didn't think it was super, super serious. But now that I'm learning these different things about it, I realize like how serious and terrifying it really was. So I'm definitely a bit more cautious than I think some other people might be.
Yeah. Wow. And I understand now that you're doing some volunteer work, and maybe we can shift to that. Like that's a very unique thing. What is it that you're doing, and how are you getting involved?
Yeah, so I'm a patient partner with Toronto General Hospital, and we're making this app called Chameleon for the cardiology patients at SickKids who are transitioning into adult care. So my role as a patient partner is to give feedback of what I want to see or what I think other patients would benefit from while using this app. Yeah.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about your actual involvement. Like, how did you ask to volunteer, or did one of your doctors say this might be interesting to you? Like, how did you make that connection?
My transition team, the first year that I had been introduced to the transition process, they suggested I do this workshop, and it was for Chameleon. It was kind of like a testing of, would you guys want to see this, and like, what do you want it to look like? And I sat in on that meeting, and I listened and I gave my feedback. And then a couple months later, I get an email, and they're like, do you want to like join our team and be a patient partner? And I said, yeah, I absolutely do, because I was so excited to be able to advocate for myself and patients like me so much more like involved. I was so much more involved.
And what do you think it gives you in terms of like managing your own health? Like, what does it personally give you to be involved in a project like this?
Yeah, Chameleon, I think, makes me think about all the other things that I have to think of with my CHD. The different parts of the app that they've created are like nutritional like guides and physical activity and just things about like the heart in general. But it's made me think a lot of like, am I eating properly? Like, do I get enough sleep that's healthy? Like, should I be doing this or that if I'm not 100% like my best? It's made me think a lot more about like if I'm making healthy and good decisions for myself instead of just doing it because other people are like, oh, do you want to do this with us? So yeah.
Right. And are you pretty open about your condition? Like, do you share this with your friends or with new people you meet? Like, how does it come up? Do you bring it up? Like, when do you talk about it?
I'd say that I almost always tell people about my CHD, like when I meet them. I think it's important too. I used to wear a medical alert bracelet. So when I was younger, I would say, hey, this bracelet is like for my heart. I have a heart condition. But now I go more into detail and I say like double outlet right ventricle. And then this is the medicine that I take. And like, don't let them do this if they don't check like what I've had and blah, blah, blah. Like I recently updated my medicine and I told every single one of my friends, I tell them the type of medicine, what it does, how it benefits me, the dosage, when I take it. I make sure that they know as much as they can without confusing them with different things so that I know I'm safe and they're educated on like what is important, at least for me, for them to know. But yeah, it does get brought up.
And was there ever a time you were kind of embarrassed by it or scared to tell people that you might scare them or they might not like you? I mean, this is a big deal, especially, being a teenager. Lots of things you don't maybe want to share.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was ever embarrassed to share it, but I was a bit nervous of how people would react. At camp, I went to a different camp before the Sick Kids one, but they would ask like, oh, what is that like scar? Because I have a scar, or my like stitch marks from other things. And I would explain it to them and they'd be like, oh. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just trying to like make sure I don't die here if I pass out in front of you. But instead, you're being like all weird about it. What's that about?
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit more about camp, because I understand it's a really special place for you. Tell us where you go, how long you've been going, and what is it like to be in that community of people that also have CHD? And for those who don't know the term, what is CHD?
Oh, CHD is a congenital heart defect.
Okay, short form.
Yes.
Talk about your camp.
Is Campfire Circle. And if you're watching and you have a kid who has CHD and they're in the cardiology department at Sick Kids, please look at Campfire Circle. They have cardiology like opportunities with their weeks at camp for cardiology kids. And it has genuinely like camp is so much of my life. I started going to camp when I was 8, and that was back when they had their own CHD week, and it was Camp Oki. And I remember I've basically grown up with like the same like 20 kids from the girls' cabin and like the boys from the boys' cabins. It's so important for me to have people that understand me and understand what CHD is. And really like having them there as even just a week in summer has actually been so amazing, because I made so many friends and they know like what it's like to go to Sick Kids, and they're never really confused when I start talking about my CHD because they understand and they all also have CHD.
Yeah. And how do you think you help the younger campers? I mean, you're older now, you've been around, you've got some experience. What is it like to be the older camper now?
Well, the past 2 years I've gone to camp, it's been Teen Week, but before Teen Week, we would have campers age 8 to 18, and it was great. I loved being able to talk to the kids about just them not being alone was like really important for me to tell them, because when I was 8 and I went to camp for the first time, I was like, you all have CHD. Like, this is so crazy. Like, you get it and you know what I'm talking about. And it's so important that like people, literally everybody has people that like understand them. And so it was really great getting to talk to the kids and tell them that like they're not alone, and we will be there if you need help with anything, and all of the older teen mentor stuff, but like medically, which was both kind of interesting to navigate, I will say, but it was really great to know that like I could be there for somebody and that like I could help them in that way.
Yeah. So is that part of also now why you volunteer with this Chameleon app? And I understand that there is also a council that you might be part of. Is that the youth council?
Yeah, we're considering and hopefully like launching a cardiology youth council. So I'm talking to different people within the research team at both Sick Kids and Toronto General, I believe. But yeah, Chameleon has definitely made me advocate for myself more and make sure that my voice is heard, especially if it's to benefit children like me who are just now learning really about like the details of their CHD. It's hard to remember a lot of times because I've had many procedures and I've had 3 open heart surgeries. So it's a lot of like information and things to remember. So it's important that with Chameleon, there's the fact that I'm able to advocate for me and my peers and make sure that they have something that is actually going to help them instead of being too confusing is really important.
Yeah. I mean, your self-advocacy is really admirable. I mean, you sound like you're taking control in terms of doing the things you can do with nutrition and sleep and good choices. Is that something that like your parents encourage you to do, or your doctors? Like, is this coming just out from yourself? Like, what's the background on this?
Yeah, my parents and my doctors, they definitely are big factors in me staying healthy, of course. But I do really like value my health. And I think having CHD has obviously made me realize like I'm very lucky to be healthy and to be where I am today. So I not take advantage, cut that out, but I make sure that I'm really taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as you grow older, I mean, right now this is a time where a lot of teenagers experiment with drugs, alcohol, staying up late, vaping. There's all these things that you could get into. How are you navigating that now as a teenager with your age group?
I am friends with people that do not go to parties and drink and do drugs like that. And I'm grateful that we don't do that because a lot of the drama at my school is about like all that stuff and it's really ridiculous if you ask me. I won't say that I like judge people to do that because like everybody's going through their own stuff, so I don't know what's going on, but I will say that I don't love the idea of doing it for fun. Like I just don't think it's a good idea. Yeah.
So in terms of things that you were looking forward to, so what grade are you in now?
I'm in grade 11.
Okay, so you're coming up to making some choices. What's in the future for you? What are you preparing for? What do you hope to do? Do you think about what's next? A school or college, university? What?
Yeah. So I'm looking into early childhood education and then teachers college. So ideally I want to be either kindergarten to grade 2 teaching. A lot of that is because of camp, I think. It's really, really fun to be able to like do different crafts and then connect with the children and make a difference in their lives. I want to make a difference in these kids' lives and make sure that like everybody is like safe to be themselves, I think. Yeah.
You talked to me a little bit earlier about someone asked you an interesting question. Would you ever choose not to have this if you could be so-called normal without being born with a congenital heart defect? And tell us your answer, because I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, my answer was no, because so much of my life has revolved around me having CHD. Like the things that I have to think about and the things that I am restricted from, not necessarily like physical activity, but the fact that I get tired out easily and I have to take my medicine on time. I have to make sure that, well, everybody should stay hydrated, but I gotta make sure I'm hydrated and everything. So I think it's just like, it's such a big part of who I am. And I understand if people like truly like really wish that they weren't like living with CHD, but I just think that I have managed to make it a positive thing in my life. And I think camp has helped that because I've met so many amazing people through camp, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have CHD. I wouldn't have been able to meet these amazing people or connect with these kids or teach different camp counselors about the Fontan procedure at like 10 years old. I wouldn't be able to do that without having CHD and without having these hospital trips. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Do you think that knowing that you have a pretty serious heart condition has made you more appreciative about life? I mean, you've probably had to grapple with things that some of your friends who were completely healthy have never had to think about. I mean, do you think about life and death? Do you think about what could be or not be? And how do you approach that?
Yeah, I think a lot. I think about things that lots and lots of people wouldn't have to think about. Like, if I were to walk up the stairs fast, like super fast, I would probably have a couple heart palpitations, and that's not good. So I have to make sure that I'm taking it slowly, and I have to make sure that I'm not overworking myself. And sometimes there are things that I just like, I can't do because I know that I won't feel good after, and I know that it'll be hard for me to catch my breath and just like be able to sit without my heart racing. I can't have caffeine. Like that spikes my heart like all the way up. The last time I had a caffeinated drink was actually in like February. But the first time I had a caffeinated drink, my heart rate was at 120. And I was at a friend's house and I didn't know what to do. And obviously that was terrifying because I have never had that much caffeine, I guess, because Starbucks coffee is a bit caffeinated. But I've never like had that experience. And so the fact that like I now had to watch out for like ice caps, like everybody has ice caps, but now I got to make sure that like all my stuff is decaf and stuff. So it's made me have to count all these different things that I have to make sure that I'm not like doing something that's gonna like come back and bite me in the butt, essentially.
Yeah. So how do you identify? Like, do you identify someone from the beginning? Like, do you say I'm a person with a heart condition, or do you say I'm a healthy person who happens to have a heart condition? Like, where do you put that identity into how you describe yourself?
I am pretty healthy, but I do have CHD. And CHD has been such a big part of my life that I don't think twice when saying I have CHD. Like, it's just a thing that's like a part of me. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's something that defines me, but I think it's a huge part of my life that I can't ignore. Right. And so, yeah.
What advice would you give someone who's newly, I mean, in your case, you were born with it, and in my case, I was also born with my condition, but it didn't come out. It was inherited, and I didn't know about it until I was 21. But what advice would you give just maybe a little bit younger than you, someone, maybe a 10 or a 12-year-old who maybe just found out that they have a condition that really restricts them and can be quite scary? What advice would you give them?
It's scary. I would say that you have to find a group of people that will be by your side. And whether that be somebody that knows what you're going through and has that experience, or somebody that's just willing to listen to you. It's important to find your people and be able to form connections and be able to find information that you need. Like, educate yourself, because it's so important to know about it and all the different things about it. Like, the small details that nobody would really think about, you got to know those things. And it's hard to do that because it is scary, but it's also really important. So I would say educate yourself and find people that you can trust.
That's great advice. So, one last question here, Amelia, and I so appreciate the time you spent with me today. But you're turning 17, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah, in a month. So you'll have your last year at Sick Kids. How are you dealing with that? You're going to be moving to an adult clinic at 18. I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
I was more scared at 14 than I was now, but leaving Sick Kids will be hard. So, yeah, I don't even want to think about it because it's so emotional. Like, it's been such a huge part of my life. So,
yeah, special place. Yeah. Really special place. Yeah. Well, I think your connection with them will never end. If you become a teacher and continue to volunteer, you can always, stay connected, and especially with camp, you've got that special connection as well. But I really think that you have been an excellent role model. I think when younger people listen to this podcast, maybe alone or with their parents, they'll hear what you have been dealing with and how your attitude has helped you. Do you have any last words you want to share in conclusion?
I would just say, first, thank you for the opportunity. This was so amazing. I love being able to share my story and help others in any way that I can. So this is really huge. Yeah, this is amazing. I would just say, like, if anybody is out there and you have CHD and you're scared, or you're my age, or you're just confused about it, I would say ask as many questions as you can. Because, like, it's important to have all that knowledge. Like, educate yourself once again. And be sure to really not take for granted, like, what you have right now. Because it truly is, like, such an amazing thing to live your life, like, as a healthy person. It's so important. Yeah.
Well, those are wonderful last words. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and all the best, and happy birthday soon to come.
Thank you.